Right now, without even looking, you probably know what day it is. Monday, Thursday, Saturday. You never stop to ask why. But the week is the strangest way we measure time, and almost nobody ever notices it. Think about it for a second. A day is one spin of the Earth. A month is roughly one trip of the moon around us. A year is one full lap of the Earth around the sun. Every single one of those comes from something real, something you can actually point to in the sky. But the week? The week comes from nothing up there. There is no 7-day object in space. Nothing orbits in 7 days. Nothing spins in 7 days. Nothing glows on a 7-day cycle. So, who decided that a week is 7 days? And why 7? Why not 5? Why not 10? The answer goes back more than 4,000 years. To ancient skywatchers, to forgotten gods, and to one stubborn rhythm that, once it started, has literally never stopped. Not for war, not for revolution, not even when people deleted 10 whole days from the calendar. This is the story of the 7-day week. Here is the first strange thing. The day, the month, and the year were all handed to us by nature. We didn't invent them. We just looked up and counted them. The rhythm was already out there. All we did was give it names. The week is different. The week is something humans made up, out of nothing and on purpose. Which means that somewhere back in history, a single person chose the number 7. And somehow, that one choice survived everything that came after it. So let's go and find them. The trail leads back to the ancient land of Mesopotamia and the skywatchers of Babylon. And these people were completely obsessed with the night sky. To them, the sky was not just decoration. It was a calendar, a clock, and a message from the gods, all at the same time. Night after night, they noticed something. Almost all of the stars are fixed. They sit in the exact same patterns year after year, never drifting apart. But a small handful of lights don't behave that way at all. A handful of lights wander. They slowly move across the sky, each one on its own path, against the fixed stars behind them. So the Babylonians counted these wandering lights, and they found exactly 7 of them. The sun, the moon, and 5 bright points that we now call Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. 7 moving lights in the heavens. To the ancient mind, that was not a coincidence. That felt like a message, a pattern placed in the sky on purpose. And so the number 7 became sacred, powerful, special. And then the moon seemed to confirm it. The moon moves through its phases in about 29.5 days, and that number splits almost perfectly into 4 equal pieces. The new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, and the last quarter. And each one of those phases falls roughly 7 days apart from the next. So everywhere these people looked, the same number kept appearing. 7 wanderers in the sky. 7 days between the phases of the moon. And slowly, they began to build the rhythm of daily life around that number. In that same part of the ancient world, the 7-day week took on an even deeper meaning. In Jewish tradition, the 7th day became holy, a day of rest called the Sabbath. You have probably heard the version told in the book of Genesis, where the world is created in 6 days, and on the 7th day, there is rest. And this is the moment everything changes. Because now the 7-day week is no longer just a habit borrowed from the stars. It has become a sacred law. A rule you follow not because of the sky, but because of your faith. And that is exactly why it would go on to outlive entire empires. You can argue with an astronomer. It is a lot harder to argue with God. For a long time, though, the 7-day week was still just one option among many. The Romans, for example, used to run their lives on an 8-day market week. But the planetary week slowly spread across the whole empire. And in the year 321, the Emperor Constantine made it official across the Roman world, and set aside Sunday as a day of rest. From that moment on, the 7-day week was not just a tradition anymore. It was the law. And it began spreading across the entire planet. So that explains where 7 comes from, and how it conquered the world. But now I want you to look at your own calendar. Because there is a second mystery hiding right there in plain sight. One you have almost certainly never thought about. Why are the days in that order? Why does Saturday come right before Sunday? Why does Sunday come before Monday? Why that exact sequence, and not some other order entirely? It feels completely random, like someone shuffled them once and never fixed it. But I promise you, it is the opposite of random. And once you see the reason, you will never be able to unsee it. Here is what the ancient world believed. Every hour of the day was ruled by one of those 7 wandering lights, running in a fixed order, from the slowest in the sky down to the fastest. Saturn, then Jupiter, then Mars, then the Sun, then Venus, then Mercury, and finally the Moon. Then it loops back around. 1 planet per hour, around the clock. And here is the key rule. Whichever planet ruled the very first hour of a day, that planet gave its name to the whole day. Now watch what happens when you do the math. Say a day begins with Saturn ruling its first hour. You go down the list and keep cycling through those 7 planets, hour after hour, through the whole day. But a day has 24 hours, and 7 does not divide evenly into 24. So when you reach the first hour of the next day, you don't land back on Saturn. You land 3 steps further along. You land on the Sun. So the day after Saturn's day is the Sun's day. Run it again, and the next day begins with the Moon, then Mars, then Mercury, then Jupiter, then Venus. And that exact jumping pattern is the order of your week. Saturn's day, Sun's day, Moon's day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and onward. The scrambled order of the days you live by is not strange at all. It is simply what is left over when you divide 24 hours among 7 planets. Hidden astronomy, frozen into your calendar. But it gets even better, because those planets are still hiding inside the names. You just can't see them in English. The Romans named the days after their gods, who were also their planets. And in the languages that grew out of Latin, you can still hear it. In French, Monday is lundi, the moon. Tuesday is mardi, Mars. Wednesday, mercredi, Mercury. Thursday, jeudi, Jupiter. Friday, vendredi, Venus. So why doesn't English sound like that? Because English speakers did something sneaky. They kept the Sun, the Moon, and Saturn, which gives us Sunday, Monday, and Saturday. But for the rest, they swapped the Roman gods for their own, the gods of the Norse. Mars, god of war, became Tuesday. Mercury became Woden, the one-eyed ruler of the gods, Woden's day, Wednesday. Jupiter, the thunder god, became Thor, also a thunder god, Thor's day, Thursday. And Venus, goddess of love, became Frigg's day, Friday. Here is the part that truly amazes me. Since that ancient beginning, the 7-day cycle has never once been broken. Empires rose and fell, languages died out, calendars were rewritten, and through all of it, the week just kept ticking, never skipping, never resetting. Here is the proof. In 1582, the world switched to the calendar we use today. To fix centuries of drift, they deleted 10 days. People went to sleep on Thursday the 4th of October and woke up on Friday the 15th. 10 dates, gone. But Thursday was still followed by Friday. They erased the dates, but never dared touch the days of the week. And people have tried to kill the 7-day week. Twice, the most powerful regimes in history went to war against it, and both lost. First, revolutionary France in the 1790s. They wanted to erase everything tied to the old world, including the week. So they invented a 10-day week, cleaner, more rational. But it was a disaster. With 1 rest day in 10, people were exhausted, and farmers ignored it. Within a decade, Napoleon threw it out and brought the 7-day week back. Then the Soviet Union tried again. In 1929, Stalin wanted his factories to never stop, so the state invented a continuous 5-day week with no weekend at all. Workers were split into groups, each with a different day off, so the machines never fell silent. But it tore society apart. Your day off no longer matched your friends. Husbands and wives rested on different days. No shared moment to stop, together. They tried a 6-day version. It still failed. By 1940, they gave up and went back to 7. 2 superpowers, at the height of their power, both tried to redesign the week. And both times, the week won. So, why is a week 7 days? Not because of the sun, not because of the earth, not because of any law of nature. There is nothing in the universe that says a week must be 7 days long. It is 7 because thousands of years ago, people looked up, counted 7 wandering lights, and built a rhythm around them. And then they wired that rhythm into their gods, their religion, and their language, so deeply that no empire, no revolution, and no calendar could ever pull it back out. The week is the one piece of time we invented entirely by ourselves, and then could never let go of. So the next time you groan and say, "Ugh, it's only Tuesday," just remember, you are calling out the name of a one-handed Norse god of war, riding on a 4,000-year-old echo of the planets, and you never even noticed.